Hi again, everybody. This is Jerry Serino from the Median Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it as always. Please go to all the social media sites and connect with us, Cleveland Right to Life. You could also go to fromthemedian.org and check out all of our shows, and you can connect with us. We'd love for you to do that. And if you want to watch any of our videos of these episodes, you can go to Rumble or YouTube and just search for Cleveland Right to Life, and you'll find that page, and you can see all of these episodes. If you're ever curious as to what my guests look like or what I look like, if you're interested, not that you care. My guest today is Susan Cipriani. Susan is actually a phenomenal Ohio, Cleveland area pro-lifer who was very passionate and dedicated to ending abortion as we know it and from all existence. And she's teamed up to do some great work here in Northeast Ohio with the group Created Equal. And she's joining me today to talk about this program and what's going on. So, Susan, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, you're very involved here with Cleveland Right to Life. I see you yearly at the Bringing America Back to Life conference. You and your husband are great supporters and great work. So now you're, with all the great things you're doing, you're now involved in this sort of door knocking program here. And I'll play a video in a little bit, but tell us a little bit about what this is about.
Well, back in 2023, you'll remember the Ohio Constitution was radically changed to allow abortion through all 9 months of pregnancy for any reason. And that happened because it was funded by out-of-state billionaires who came into Ohio and got the voters and got this constitutional amendment passed. Well, Created Equal is now come up with a strategy to go on the offense to get this constitutional amendment undone by replacing it with a pro-life constitutional amendment. In 2025, Created Equal did a pilot program in 2 communities in the Columbus area where they targeted persuadable pro-abortion supporters to actually see if they could persuade them to the pro-life position. And their pilot involved an initial poll of the community, followed by 2 months of targeted digital advertising, whether it's to their smart TVs or their social medias. And that coincided with intense deep canvassing or door knocking to these targeted households to assess their position on abortion, on whether it should be always allowed only up to a certain point, or never allowed. And if it was allowed, if they felt that it should be allowed, would that be at heartbeat or fetal pain or viability? So once they would assess that, then that deep canvasser and this messaging on the side as well would then attempt to convince this person to sway to the pro-life position. They then followed it up with some polling, and they found that there was a shift of 14 percentage points from the pro-abortion to the pro-life position. So now they've refined their messaging, they've refined their deep canvassing script, and they are rolling it out to 2 test communities in the Cleveland, Cincinnati, Dayton, Toledo, and Columbus areas. What they learned from this test program, they're going to roll out statewide. The goal is in 2028 to be able to bring a new constitutional amendment to the Ohio voters to undo the damage that was done in 2023.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I want to play this. It kind of sums up what you were talking about, but I want to play this video here.
The abortion industry is a giant, killing over 2,500 babies every single day in the United States alone. You'll find that many pro-abortion voters are loud and proud activists who champion and practically worship abortion. However, among these voters, you'll also find those who quietly support it. If this group could be convinced that abortion is wrong, so they drop their support, the abortion industry wouldn't be able to survive. But can these individuals be swayed on the issue? We decided to go find out, and we saw real change take place. We chose 2 cities in central Ohio that reflected the state as a whole and then polled these cities to get a baseline understanding of where they stood on abortion. Then we launched our first phase and introduced the pivotal question, is abortion actually healthcare? We asked this question using mobile billboards and ads on both streaming services and social media, as well as literature that we delivered to their front doors. In phase 2, our team knocked on over 9,000 doors to engage in conversation. This is where we drove the point home. Abortion isn't healthcare, it's murder. Phase 3 cemented this change in our audience's convictions, asking them to sign a petition and display a sign in their yard. Finally, it was time to assess the results. In just 5 months, support for abortion dropped over 7%, while more than 8,000 people moved to a fully pro-life position. This is a powerful movement, but it won't grow on its own. We need financial supporters, volunteers, and people willing to bring this project to their community. We need your help to make abortion history. Learn more about this project at makeabortionhistory.org.
Okay, so that's a really, really well done video on this. We'll have it shared, and we'll promote that video as well as this episode here with you, Susan. So how can people, well, first tell me what is your role completely with this, and how can people kind of connect?
So I've been asked by Created Equal and Cleveland Right to Life to head up the door knocking that's going to be happening in the Cleveland portion of this second phase of the pilot. The two select cities are Strongsville and North Ridgeville. Created Equal has established a goal for us of knocking on 7,500 doors across both of those communities starting June 15th through August 15th. So right now we're in the process of trying to build our army. We need volunteers. We need people who are willing to go out and engage the community and to knock on doors and have these conversations with people at the door. Usually about 20% of doors knocked, somebody actually answered. The other times we just give you literature that you can leave at the door that provides the information that we're trying to convey. So right now we're building the army. If anybody is interested in coming out and doing some door knocking, there will be 4 training sessions on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. You only have to go to one of the training sessions, and they will be at locations in North Ridgeville or Strongsville. If somebody is interested in attending those trainings, they can reach out to me, and I will get them set up at the right training location according to their schedule. If somebody can't make a Saturday morning training, I don't want that to stop somebody. We'll make alternate arrangements, but they can reach me at susan@crtledu.org. So that's susan@clevelandrighttolifeeducation.org. The training will go over what is going to be the script when we go to do the door knocking. We're going to provide you with the literature. We're going to go through some actual training in the class where we can practice on each other. And then for those that can stay after the training, we're going to go out into the communities and do some door knocking. Now, to entice people to donate or to donate their time, we know door knocking is not an easy thing to do. It's probably not on the top 10 list of things people want to do in their summer in Cleveland, Ohio. So we've thrown in a couple of prizes to try to sweeten the pot. If you will just commit to 100 doors, we will give you a Created Equal t-shirt. If you achieve 200 doors, we're going to give you a Make Abortion History ball cap. And if you achieve 300 doors, you'll have your choice of a Created Equal sweatshirt, or this is a wonderful premium, a free weekend pass to Bringing America Back to Life 2027, which is a $300 value. It includes all the meals, all the speakers, even the dinner. Excellent. So that's a wonderful incentive for somebody who will come out and actually achieve 300 doors.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's phenomenal stuff, and I like how you're doing the training, because that's what is your experience, Susan, with, have you done door knocking before or engaged with people? Because I think the natural thing is for people is to be like, I want to end abortion. I'm passionate about it, but oh gosh, I don't know if I can knock on doors. Tell me, what experience you have and what you could say to people who maybe feel that way.
When we were going through the issue 1 in 2023, I headed up the Northeastern Ohio door knocking, and I had a team of about 100 active door knockers. I myself knocked down over 1,000 doors over the span of a couple of months. We are given a computer app. It's called i360 that tells you which doors to go to. So somewhere in all the data universe that's out there, they're able to say, we want you to go to this door, not that door. So they have determined who they believe are the swayable voters. They're not going to send us to those that we know that are staunchly pro-abortion, because those people practically worship it, and there is nothing that you can say to them will ever change their mind. We're not going to waste our time there. We want the swayable voters. So you find that it is less intimidating once you actually do it. Just like anything, the first door you knock on is the hardest. You can start off going on with a team, 2 people at a door, but then as you get your sea legs, it's really not difficult. I've had some people on our team that like to bike ride. They would get their app, they would know a community that they wanted to go through, and they would bike ride between houses to cover more doors quickly. And when you engage in people, the way these scripts are written, it's really not confrontational. Mm-hmm. You will find the off person who really just doesn't want to talk to you. You thank them for their time, and you just leave. So it's actually a great way to engage in conversation, and it's amazing how many hearts and minds you can sway.
Yeah.
A couple of the things that you find out is people have this perception about abortion as healthcare, but it's really not healthcare. And you start to educate them on some of these things, like 90% of OBGYNs will not do an abortion. Well, if it's healthcare, then why will OBGYNs not do it? If it's healthcare, why are doctors not even in the picture right now, as most abortions are being done through the drugs that you can get through the mail, prescribed by a non-doctor with no medical supervision? People don't realize that, and when they learn those things, they take a step back and they say, oh, well, maybe it's not healthcare. You also can have a chance to engage people with all of the arguments that are out there. Well, what about the life of the mother? Well, you talk about, okay, well, what about the life of the mother? We want to support the mother. But if there's an issue with the mother's life, you can more safely deliver a baby by cesarean section and save both the mother and the baby. So it really gives you a chance to dialogue with people and right some of these misconceptions that are out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so nice to hear. And I really like how you, how they're focusing on those that are at least open, right? And those are going to be the less aggressive people. We're not going to be going to people and you see abortion signs and rainbow flags on their yard, right? Those aren't the people that you're looking at engaging with. It's people that are targeted to be more
I do want to correct you on one thing there, though,
okay.
about the rainbow flags.
Okay.
When I did the door knocking in 2023, I was first intimidated by that, thinking that they would be pro-abortion. That's not the case. They're human beings too. They're people too. Just because they have chosen a different lifestyle for their own personal life doesn't mean that they're pro-abortion, which was a really eye-opening experience for me when I did this a couple of years ago. There's the flyer that we pass out has a really nice summary that I just want to read, because this is how simple the argument is. Preborn babies are living humans. They grow in the womb, so they're alive. Their parents are humans, so they're humans too. And no living human being is a non-person. So preborn babies are people too. Let's protect them. It's very simple. Mm-hmm. Can you kill a human being? Are preborn babies human beings? You cannot kill preborn babies. It's like the simplest geometry theorem that's out there.
It's basic logic. And and just so everyone listening, I mean, again, I could, even with what you described, I'm sure it's a sort of a nerve-wracking thing for people to think about knocking at doors. I've known you, Susan, for years, and you're this very humble, laid back person, and yet you've knocked on thousands, would you say 1,000 doors a few years ago? So it is something, you don't have to be this big boisterous person to do that, just passionate about ending abortion as you are, of course. I would love to know, Susan, if you could, if you're, open to share sort of your, why you are so passionate about this issue, and why you are so involved, just as a person.
My first exposure to this came back in college when I had a friend who was graduated. She became a teacher, and I learned she was doing pro-life speaking in her high school that she was teaching at, and that just blew me away that somebody would actually go do that. You just didn't think it was needed. So that was my very first exposure to the whole pro-life arena. And then one thing led to another, where I started to subscribe to the National Right to Life newspaper. Then you read that. Well, that led to learning about something called a truth booth that my husband and I got involved with. And it just inspired me to do these truth booths, where we were setting up these video displays in shopping malls that showed fetal development in a very non-threatening scientific way to show the humanity of the unborn child. So you look back, and it's just kind of how God has led your life. I've gone to every one of the 16 now Bringing America Back to Life conventions. And when I did the door knocking, I never thought I would do door knocking. I never felt called to that, but it was the slow drip of knowledge and education year after year after year from those conventions that gave me the confidence in I could speak about this. Just understanding the simple argument of sled. Why is life sacred? Sled. Well, it's the size doesn't matter. Little people are as important as big people, so small unborn people are important as well. L is your level of development. Whether somebody is a toddler or an adolescent or an adult or a senior, your level of development in life doesn't change your value. E is your environment. Whether you're living in the submarine under the ocean, or you're living in your womb, or you're living in a house, where you are doesn't change your value. And D is degree of dependency. Whether you could be dependent on insulin because you're diabetic doesn't make you less of a human. Well, you're dependent on your mom when you're unborn, but you're also dependent on adults when you're born because you can't take care of yourself as a child. So that's part of all these years and years and years of just, I call it the slow drip, that all of a sudden I realized, wow, I know more than I thought I know. And
Yeah.
it's where God leads you.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you for sharing that. That's really great stuff. And I love the education part, because I've watched videos. I know, like Live Action and many other groups do this, where they'll actually, on an iPad, they'll show people. They'll say, are you pro-life, pro-abortion, whatever, and they'll say, oh, I'm pro-choice, and they'll say, they'll show them a video of an abortion, right, and what happens, or they'll describe it to them, or pull out the tools that they use to abort, and people will literally sit there and change their mind right when they see that. And I think it's not only because they're seeing something very powerful, but so many people, what you see from those videos, they don't even know what happens in an abortion, right? They have no concept. They think, it's a clump of cells, right, which they've been lied to, and somehow it's just, made to disappear. They don't realize that arms and legs are being ripped apart, skulls are being crushed, depending on how the abortion, what type of abortion, they're either, burned alive in a sense, through the procedure. And people change their minds simply by education. And, essentially that's all that you're looking to do with this, is educate people who are at least open to it, right? Not these radical people.
So you talk about the education piece. One of the things that I'm really excited about this campaign is partnering with Created Equal. They are an amazing organization. All the products that they put out are so professionally done. and just so polished. The handout that we have, it does have pictures on one side of, they call them abortion victim photography, which does show the pictures of aborted babies. They are the victims. There's some controversy about that. Some people don't like to use that, but people will not change their mind about abortion unless they see abortion. It's amazing in 2026 where people think an unborn baby is just a clump of cells. It's amazing. They'll think, oh yeah, it's fine. It should be okay up to, a certain point. And then you show them a picture of a child and they're just blown away. I had the privilege of doing some sidewalk outreach with Created Equal a couple of years ago, where we were just stopping passerbyers and showing them pictures of abortion victim photography. And it's amazing how they would think it's fine, and then you show them that picture and just their reaction, like, wow, I didn't know that. So there's that. But then also coinciding with this campaign, there's going to be a series of 5 targeted digital ads that Created Equal is going to be airing. And it's amazing how with these smartphones and TVs, they can send it to your TV and not to your neighbor's TV. It just blows my mind that they can do these things. But those ads are so well done. They're going to have a doctor doing 2 of the ads talking about abortion is not healthcare, about how there can be, there's been cases of men crushing abortion pills, putting it in their, secretly slipping them to their girlfriend to induce an abortion against her knowledge or will. Okay, well, that's not healthcare. There have been so many women who have ended up in the emergency room because of uncompleted abortions through these abortion pills. There's no doctor oversight, no doctor visits required. Abortion is not healthcare. They also have a wonderful ad that they've put together that shows victims of abortion from a live perspective. There's Claire, her last name escapes me, Claire, but
Colwell, is it?
Yes. They have an ad with her.
Yeah, just had her on the show.
She's an abortion
She's premiering
survivor
tonight. Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yep.
She's an abortion survivor where her twin was killed by abortion, and she's a survivor. So it shows the humanity and the real consequences of killing an unborn child. There's also going to be a wonderful ad that talks about how it was all these out-of-state billionaires bringing money into Ohio to overturn the Constitution. So the work that Created Equal done is so professional, and it's really an honor and a privilege to partner with them.
Excellent. Well, Susan, if you could just give us the quick summary of how people can sort of connect or volunteer, or how they can take that next step, that would be great.
Sure. We desperately right now need to build our army. We need volunteers who are willing to door knock, a minimum of 100 door commitment. That's all we're asking. And we think 100 doors would take about 6 or 7 hours, and you have 2 months in which to complete that. So it's really not a big ask. You can reach out to me directly at susan@crtledu.org. So it's Susan is the Cleveland Right to Life Education.org. Express your interest. I'll provide you with all of the times and the locations for the training. Again, if you can't make any of those, don't let that stop you. We'll make alternate arrangements. We're targeting to begin the actual door knocking June 15th, running through August 15th. It's a numbers game. 7,500 doors is our goal. The more volunteers we get, the less doors each of us need to knock on.
Right. Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And I encourage you, I'm going to sign up and get some of my family members as well to sign up and do this, because I think it's it's the least we can do for this. And Susan, thank you so much for all that you do and have done for this issue and are doing here with Created Equal. Really, really appreciate you. I know this is a lot of work, but you could see and hear your passion and knowledge for this issue. So thank you so much. And thanks for coming on to share this program.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And thank all of you for listening to this episode of From the Median podcast. All of this will be on fromthemedian.org. It's also going to be on YouTube and Rumble, and of course the radio program and the podcast. So go to the podcast app as well and look up From the Median. So thank you all again for listening, and we will see you next time.